Hey Billionaire Life Seekers! You may not have known that Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber has written some of the most commercially successful musicals of the last quarter of the 20th century. This has helped him amass enormous wealth for himself over the years. Let's take a look at how he made his mark on the musical world and how it has helped his lifestyle. Please stay tuned for a bonus fact at the end. Net worth and earnings. Andrew Lloyd Webber has an estimated net worth of $1.2 billion. He is best known for his stage musicals and the film adaptations Jesus Christ Superstar, 1973, Cats, 1994, Evita, 1996, and The Phantom of the Opera, 2004. His shows have been performed in 148 countries around the world. From the 1960s to the 2000s, he has been updating his style, ranging from classical to rock, pop, and jazz, with the inclusion of chorale-like performances in his musicals. Since 1997, he has been Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber and can sit in the House of Lords in Parliament in London, England. His memoir, Unmasked, was published in 2018. In 1977, Lloyd Webber founded the Really Useful Company, later Really Useful Group, which manages his productions since then and also works with other producers and authors. The company is owned exclusively by him and is involved in professional theater, amateur and school productions, film and television, and records and publishing. Really Useful Group had earnings of $8.16 million in 2019, $5.04 million in 2018, $4.15 million in 2017, $6.35 million in 2016, $5.62 million in 2015, and $14.8 million in 2012. Meanwhile, it lost $1,866,239 in 2014 and $5,941,047 in 2013. The company's assets include 7 London theaters that he restored. In 1986, Lloyd Webber released his most successful musical, The Phantom of the Opera, based on the homonym book by Gaston Leroux. It is the longest-running Broadway musical in history, a record previously held by Cats and Jesus Christ Superstar, and the second most financially successful Broadway show of all time, with revenue of $6 billion as of December 2017. The play was translated into several languages and produced in more than 20 countries. The Phantom of the Opera won Best Musical at Tony Awards and is still on stage. How does Andrew Lloyd Webber spend his money? The composer lives in a 400-year-old mansion in southern England. The mansion, called Sydmonton Court, sits on a 5,000-acre estate, according to the Wall Street Journal. It's a wonderful piece of property, Lloyd Webber told the Journal's Mark Myers in 2018. The house looks overwhelmingly big, but it's really quite livable. There's a big cozy family room, and my art collection is there. Lloyd Webber has a particular affinity for paintings in the pre-Raphaelite style, The New Yorker reported, which used 19th century realism to portray biblical and nature scenes. The New Yorker's Adam Gopnik described it as one of the world's best private collections of the school. Lloyd Webber also owns a £15 million townhouse in West London. The townhouse is in London's exclusive Belgravia neighborhood. The Daily Mail reported in 2015. Lloyd Webber's chauffeur was arrested at the townhouse on suspicion of theft after hundreds of pounds went missing in February 2015, according to the Daily Mail. He also owns a horse breeding farm called Watership Down Stud. Lloyd Webber founded the Berkshire-based farm alongside his wife in 1992. According to its website, Watership Down Stud says its foals have won over £20 million or $26.2 million in prize money in races. Art collection. Lloyd Webber has the greatest private art collection assembled in Britain in modern times. 7 years ago, he held an exhibition of 300 works at the Royal Academy, and last month, his Pablo Picasso masterpiece, The Absinthe Drinker, was sold for £34.7 million at Christie's. He bought it for £19 million in 1995. A generous philanthropist, Lloyd Webber donated the proceeds of the sale to art charities through his Andrew Lloyd Webber Foundation. Some years ago, he also paid more than £10 million to save a canaletto for the nation. He owns rare furniture such as a Pugin table, tapestries, and ceramics. His passion is Victorian art, however, and he has one of the most important collections of the 19th century pictures in the world. It includes work by the pre-Raphaelites Burne-Jones, Millais, and Rossetti. His Sydmonton Court home houses Richard Dad's Oberon and Titania, bought more than a decade ago for £1.7 million after bidding against the Tate and J. Paul Getty Jr. He also paid £6.6 million in 2000 for John William Waterhouse's St. Cecilia. It is now worth nearly £10 million. Wine collection. An avid collector, Lloyd Webber has cellars in England and the south of France, and pays for professional wine storage in London. In 1997, he held a $5 million sale at Sotheby's. A spokeswoman said at the time, "This is undoubtedly the greatest single wine collection ever to appear at auction. Virtually every bottle falls into the category of the world's most desirable wine, and is proof of Andrew Lloyd Webber's impeccable personal taste and wine connoisseurship." Another wine collection from the composer was sold for $5.6 million back in 2011. Among the 746 lots, the most expensive case of wine was a Chateau Petrus, 1982, 12 bottles going for $77,564. His collection's sale price beat previous price expectations, and Lord Lloyd Webber said he was pleased. "I hope the new owners enjoy my wines as much as I have, and I look forward to reacquainting myself with them in restaurants all over China," he said. Lord Lloyd Webber, who lives in Berkshire, has collected wine since he was a teenager, when he said to have had it delivered to his public school, The Telegraph reported. He said that he sold the wine on Saturday because he did not have the space to store it. Real estate. Like most billionaires, Lloyd Webber is an avid spender in the real estate market. He paid $5.5 million for a 5,000 square foot duplex in Manhattan's Trump Tower. He put it on the market for $15 million in 2000, $22.5 million in 2007, and $19 million in 2010. And he finally sold it for $16.5 million in the fall of 2010. He also owns a £7 million townhouse in London's Chester Square, where Baroness Thatcher is his neighbor. He sold his palatial, 6-floor, 6-bedroom stucco home in Eaton Square for £15 million in 1998 to Czech playboy Victor Kazeni. A £3 million mansion in Cap Ferret in the south of France is his summer residence. But he also has a bougainvillea-festooned £10 million gateway in Mallorca. He has bought a separate house nearby for his children. Expensive wardrobe. Once unfairly called a slug in flared trousers, Lloyd Webber now has a lavish wardrobe. He buys his clothes on Savile Row, favoring brightly colored silk shirts. He was an aficionado of the legendary avant-garde tailor Tommy Nutter before his death. Lloyd Webber has also bought his wife several pieces of expensive jewelry. However, she has recently invested £100,000 in a new business, Dazzling Capital, which will allow her to borrow jewels, including rare diamonds, for a nominal fee of £50. Lloyd Webber buys presents for his family from society jeweler Theo Fennell, and gave his daughter Imogen a silver necklace decorated with a miniature key. As promised, let's get into the bonus fact for today. Despite the financial devastation caused by the coronavirus, Lloyd Webber is still expected to stay on the top of the Sunday Times rich list. The 72-year-old composer stands to lose millions of pounds due to the closure of his theaters in the West and on Broadway, the compilers of the list have calculated. He has also had to delay the London opening of his musical Cinderella, scripted by Killing Eve's Emerald Fennell, as a result of the pandemic. However, he still tops the list of wealthiest musicians along with Paul McCartney, 77. With a calculated wealth of £800 million, Lord Lloyd Webber's LW Theatres showed assets of £63 million in 2018 to 2019, with a separate really useful group investments making profits of £7 million on turnover of £61.4 million. He topped the list alone in 2019 with a fortune of £820 million. Do you think Andrew Lloyd Webber will stay on top of the rich list in the years to come? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for tuning in today. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon as we continue to explore the lavish lifestyle of the world's richest.